It's finally happened. We've been teasing it for weeks, but it's finally here. I'm so excited. Roll the intro, Tom. Let's go. Come on, come on. Welcome to the very special edition of Oneonta Movie Show. This week we got Vinny, Brian, and our very special guest, Professor Bouman. Oh man, he's here. Now I want to start off this episode with finding out what are some of Professor Bouman's favorite movies. Why is it Professor? You say Bouman. No one calls it Professor Bouman. Yeah, so let me hear some stuff.
My favorite movies?
Yeah.
I really like Ghostbusters, the first one.
Are you being serious?
One of my top 10. Yeah,
top
absolutely.
10s?
It's fantastic.
Talking 7,
Okay.
6.
Let's see. This Andrei Rublev. It's a really long, most people think boring Russian film.
Oh.
Sounds boring.
Yeah. No, it's. Do you want me to keep going? Let's see.
Just keep on going until I stop you, I guess.
Master and Commander, Peter Weir's film.
Oh, really?
Tall wooden ships.
Vinny, you seen that one?
I mean, it's what, Russell Crowe and...
Russell Crowe. Who's that guy that's always starring with him?
Mark Wahlberg.
No,
Yeah, no, not him.
Tom Cruise.
no, you're going to keep saying names. They're going to be wrong.
He's Vision in like the Avengers stuff. Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I think
yeah.
that's it.
Oh, you
favorite.
nerds out there.
Didn't you show a clip from that in Art of Motion Picture, I think, of
Yes, I usually do.
from the boats on the ocean. It's like the fog and then
Can you
it's
show
all
that
the,
in
it's all
my
the
class?
tension.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
got great sound design. It's got a great story. I don't know. Let's see. I do like Witness a lot.
The Harrison Ford one?
Harrison Ford movie.
That was pretty good.
Back in the days when he was young.
Oh yeah, Harrison
Yeah,
Ford.
the whole-
Man crush on Harrison Ford.
I still have a crush on Harrison Ford. Let's see.
Still,
with
even
the
this
earrings?
age?
Even with the earrings on?
No, not
Not
a
with
big
the
fan of
earrings.
the
Not
earrings.
Tom Bahama,
That's not-
Harrison Ford.
He's an old man, let him be
Is he
free.
doing anything
What?
now?
He did Blade Runner.
He just died in Star
Oh,
Wars.
he did Blade Runner.
Oh,
Yeah,
too bad,
Yeah,
Tom.
he's
I said
doing
it.
all his old movies.
And he crashed that plane.
He did crash that plane, but he
That
was
was pretty
unscathed.
exciting.
He's been in 2 plane
No,
crashes.
he wasn't. He was in the hospital.
Is he?
All right, can we let Bowman talk?
Yeah.
Is he going to be in the
5?
in
Yeah,
the
that's
fifth
what
one?
that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's the rumor.
I
Yeah.
mean, do you still like his acting? Because every time I see him, he just seems old and tired.
He plays the same guy in every movie.
He just seems he doesn't want to
I
be
like
there.
him though.
Yeah.
I love him.
I don't know. I still like him. Let's see. Terrence Malick's film Badlands. I like that film a lot.
Never
Sounds
seen it.
very familiar, but I don't
You guys haven't seen Badlands?
Can you make us watch it in class?
It's too
Maybe I could swap. Yeah, I mean you got to watch Badlands. It's an amazing movie.
What's so good about it?
The cinematography is astonishing. It's Terrence Malick's first film. He was 26 when he made it, and it's just it's a beautiful film. It's like it's a film. It's about a crime spree, like a couple that goes out on a crime spree, but it's shot in this sort of very kind of romantic, sort of ethereal kind of way. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, have you seen any Terrence Malick films?
I have to name him.
Yeah.
The Thin Red Line.
Yes, wow.
He didn't watch
That?
that. Didn't he watch that
Yeah.
in Doc?
He did that. So
That's the Thin Blue Line.
Thin Red Line is a World
Red
War
Line.
II movie that is like, what, 6 hours long if they add all the extra footage? to it?
yeah, it's 3
It's
hours.
like a 3-hour movie.
It's
but
3
then-
hours,
yeah.
but it's like over 6 hours.
And
He
the
wanted
cast
it to
is
be
like-
over 6 hours.
George Clooney's in it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
good is
Woody
in it. I
Harrelson's
mean, not
in
counting
it,
George Clooney. Woody
Wow.
Harrelson.
You don't like
take
George
that.
Clooney?
Take that.
Sean
Penn.
Penn's in
Penn's
it.
in it?
Yeah, it's just like, I'm like, what is happening? I know all of these faces, and it's all like,
I watched
they're
the
all
first
very
3
kind of
minutes of
small
it.
roles too. No one's like bigger than the other person. There's like a couple, but
Yeah, some of the major roles are. Sorry.
You're still out. Yeah, that's one of these movies here. My favorite DVDs.
Some of the biggest roles are by relatively no-name actors. Yeah.
When did he do Thin Red Line?
I want to say I think it was like 1999.
Okay.
The reason why there was so many people in it, like so many sort of big name actors in it, is because he did Badlands in I think it was like the late 70s or early 80s, and then he followed that up with another like amazingly beautiful film, but it's like the story isn't quite as good, but still like actors loved it. A lot of people liked it. Days of Heaven, and then he teaches philosophy at Harvard, so
Oh.
he was just going to
Renaissance
do
man.
that for a while, and then so he hadn't made a movie in like a couple,
That's
maybe almost 2 decades.
That's insane.
So
pretty
that, and
that's
so
pretty
everybody's
crazy.
dying to work with him and see what he was going to do next.
Oh, then it was thin.
Um,
then it was Thin Red Line.
Then it was
Okay.
the Red Line. And he did a crazy movie, Tree of Life, which you really ought to see.
I
if
think you
like
talked about
movies.
that in one of our classes. He said Tree of Life.
Yeah, there's dinosaurs in it, and God appears.
Oh.
and sort of
What's he look
immortal
like?
and blob.
Just a blob?
But most of it takes the blob of glowing light. Most of it takes place in Texas, though.
Oh, the heartland of
God Blob and
God
dinosaurs.
blobs and
Yeah.
dinosaurs.
What do you look for in a movie? What's your favorite thing in a movie? Like the story, the cinematography,
I don't know. I
Sound.
guess, yeah, I don't know. That's a difficult question to answer. I
That's
mean,
why I'm
initially
asking
I was drawn to cinematography. I sort of came at like feature-length film sort of through looking at documentaries, and I was interested in I was drawn to film period because of like a couple of really beautiful documentaries that I saw. They were just beautifully shot, and that got me interested in sort of camera work and stuff. And then I sort of, that sort of parlayed into feature-length fiction film. But I don't know, cinematography used to be, but yeah, mostly just good direction and a good story now. Sidney Lumet is probably one of my favorite directors of all time too.
Who?
Yeah, never.
Who's that?
Yeah.
He did Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico.
Sir,
Oh,
okay.
I was just kidding. I knew who that
okay.
was. You guys didn't know who that is?
He
Oh my god. I actually know this. I actually know this dad. This dude.
Yeah.
Fail
uh-huh.
Safe,
Sure you do.
Fail Safe.
I do.
and
Well,
The
he's
Verdict.
Serpico.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta check out Sidney
His
Lumet's
work.
stuff.
What's your favorite genre?
I don't know. I don't think I really. I guess I really like heist movies.
So,
Hey.
me too. I love heist movies. They're the
So
best movies.
What's your favorite heist movie?
Oh,
If he
it's,
says
oh,
he-
it-
if he says he-
No, it's not he. It's the
He's pretty
one-
good though.
He's good, but I feel like that's a generic
wait, I gotta
answer.
think. Someone else talk. While I
Is it
think. Go.
Hurricane Heist?
No.
Are you so excited for that? Yeah.
Any heist movie's great. Oh wait, go. Someone else talk while I think.
I don't
mean,
know
I
that many
can't-
heist movies.
I don't know a lot, but I mean,
Inside
most recently,
Man? Is that a heist movie?
Yeah.
What is
Okay.
it? What is
Don't
the
ask me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my heist movie.
Italian Job? That one's all right.
Is it
The
Alien
Job?
original's
The original one?
good.
Yeah.
You like Baby
Yeah.
Driver's your favorite heist
Baby
movie.
Driver's my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
right now.
He
But,
loves him. He loves Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright's a great director.
He's not that
He's
great,
very-
right? I don't think he is that great, right?
What else
Bowman?
has he done?
Nothing.
He's done Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, right,
Hot
right.
Fuzz. World's
heist?
I
End.
didn't.
He
Really,
did the-
I wasn't a big fan of Shaun of the Dead. I have to admit. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all right.
That
I
hurts.
had high hopes because I like zombie movies and stuff, but yeah.
Did you watch Hot Fuzz?
It's a
Yeah, I
cop
think
one.
so.
That's
Yeah.
Because I mean, I would say he's probably like my second favorite director.
Second favorite? Who's your favorite?
I would say
maybe?
Wes Anderson's my
Wes
favorite because
Anderson?
I've seen all of his movies and his shorts and stuff, and even his commercials that he's directed. Which he
What's
did
your favorite Anderson movie?
That one's a hard one because
here we go.
I mean, I really enjoyed Bottle Rocket and Rushmore. I think those two
It's gotta be Fantastic Mr. Fox.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
Mr.
also
Fox is
really
so
good.
good.
I don't know. But I
I remember
like
seeing that in middle school or high school. I was like, what is this? This is freaking me out.
How does that? The animals are people. What's going on? And foxes don't wear suits.
What's your favorite heist movie? Did you say it already? I forgot. forgot.
Well, I guess I'm gonna get yelled, but I did like Thief or yeah,
Heat?
Heat.
I was gonna say
and-
Heat, but Brian said no.
I don't know.
and
I thought you were
Michael
gonna do
Mann's earlier heist movie, Thief. Have you seen
Alright.
that one? It
No.
has Willie Nelson in it. Like
Well,
Willie
Oh,
Willie
okay.
Nelson's in
Okay.
this?
Yeah, you gotta check that
Wait,
out.
what, is there? It's black and white. I forgot what it was. It was from film genres. I mean, not film genres.
A Man Escaped? No, that's more of an escape movie.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. I just thought you were just
Heat's
gonna say
great.
like.
Heat's
What?
awesome.
I thought Bowen was just gonna do like this French new
Yeah,
wave.
some French noir. Like when he's like, yeah, Hurricane Heist, my favorite. My favorite is Hurricane
oh
Heist.
man, Run Lola Run. Is that technically a heist movie?
I like
type
Ocean's
thing?
11 was alright.
Ocean 11's pretty
Ocean
good.
11's
There's
nice
a
thing.
thing to it.
Kind of.
A little.
Did you like the Ocean 11s,
Yeah,
the
what about
one
the
with George
Oceans?
Clooney? I mean,
It's fun, it's
Yeah.
a fun bubblegum movie, but
Yeah, that is funny.
I actually like Logan Lucky a lot better than the.
We just saw that.
I didn't
That's
see
pretty
Logan
good.
Lucky. Thanks for the invite, guys. I live
Yeah.
right downstairs from you.
You were
Awesome, everybody.
Same
Watch the movie
director,
with me.
but it's I'd like
Same
it a lot
director
better.
as who?
All right, I'm
as
sorry.
Ocean's
I love this
11.
conversation, but we have to go to a commercial break. This really stinks, but let's go. Commercial break. Play it.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Danse, balance sur la cadence, on lève bien tes hanches au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence, dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou,
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Bowman, now that we know some of your favorite movies, there's the weird thing to say, Bowman. Now that we know some of your favorite movies, what are some trends in Hollywood that you like? Maybe it's a certain type of movie being made, or a certain type of filmmaker growing more popular. I kind of asked this question before the break, but let's hit it.
Some trends in Hollywood that I like.
Yes, number one.
Number one trend.
None. Everything. It's all about indies.
Cancel Hollywood.
It's all about web series.
Oh God, that's a hard one for me. Like, so it's not. I hope this is a trend, but it seemed to be starting to be a trend. But I think like, the whole Marvel universe thing.
Thank you.
Cinematic universe? stuff?
Yeah,
Let him
the
speak.
cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I generally don't like
Thank
it,
you.
and I kind of more than that, I actively dislike it.
Hear that, Dan Martin?
Sorry, I know like a lot of people love it.
No, it's
No,
okay.
you're
They're all
fine. You're fine.
nerds.
No,
But
people.
the whole, I do appreciate like what Ryan Coogler's done with Black Panther. I haven't seen it,
Me
but
either.
like
Wanna see it?
from what I understand, it's finally like somebody tapped into what was like such an obvious underserved market. It's not really an underserved market. People are just dying to see sort of representations in the cinema, like positive representations of people of color in that universe. So that's cool that happened. But I don't know. I haven't I can't say there's
Nothing
any
positive?
Hollywood trend in particular that I'm really a big fan of right
Okay,
now.
what was your favorite Hollywood trend ever?
Favorite Hollywood trend?
Follow me, yes.
Can you define a
Yeah, I don't know.
a
What
single
Yes,
Hollywood
yes,
trend?
he can. Let him speak. This show is not for you two. This is really just me interviewing. This is our 60 minutes. Me and Bowman. Bowman and I. The love story.
I don't. There was like a. I mean, so I really sound like an old fuddy-duddy when I said this, but
We all
like
know.
a lot of a lot of other people around my age think that like there was a couple of golden periods in Hollywood cinema, and I think like the 70s were like one of those periods. It's like film where you had this sort of nice convergence where films were still being made for adults, but the acting in film had gotten really, really good. So it's like you look at older films, you can still find great performances in older films, but I think across the board, there are a lot of really good performances from actors in the 70s. The whole generation of actors that came of age during the 70s were great. We had like De Niro, Pacino, Meryl Streep, Ellen Burstyn, sort of these amazing actors paired with like directors that were sort of bucking the studio system and that had like really original creative visions. And they were all getting together to make movies that really aimed at an adult audience. And then, although I like the first Star Wars film, I do. I loved
Wait,
it
A
when
New
I was
Hope?
a kid.
Episode 1.
No, like the very first one.
Oh yes, much better than Empire Strikes Back. Much better.
But then then there was a big swerve towards aiming towards younger and younger demographics, and I think that's been kind of boring.
Is it kind of the introduction of the blockbuster? Is that when you cut off that kind of era? Like as soon as Jaws happens, their studios want.
Well, it didn't get cut off immediately.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it started like most of the movies that play in the theaters now. They're not aimed at an adult audience.
No.
Right? They're just really not.
Zardos got a budget in the 70s.
A movie?
Zardos. It's like a
Can we
giant
talk about
stone
recent
head.
movies?
I'm talking about the
No.
Recent Hollywood trends
Yes.
that I like.
Yes,
I mean,
in
Well, is there any,
recent
you said with De Niro and all the actors that came up in the 70s, is there any current actors that you feel are like replacing them? Because
Just totally don't answer my question. Just put another
oh
question.
God.
Like a producer told me that I won't. Okay, go.
I should say another trend. A recent trend in Hollywood is they're finally there's better roles for women. There's more female directors. And there's better roles for people of color, and there's a little bit more diversity than there used to be. As far as production across the board, like the crews and stuff that works on film, it's still really dominantly sort of white. But at least things are starting to move in a proper direction, I guess. So that's good.
What was your question, Brian? Ask him again.
well, we said the last kind of class of actors with De Niro and Pacino and all that kind of is ending. And do you feel they're being replaced now with up and coming actors? Is there any new young actor I want to see this performance?
Yeah, I think there are some good actors now. But who do you guys like?
Miles Teller. I like him.
Miles Teller,
I could say
I just go
Miles
with
Teller
Flash.
is. I mean, he's working his way from the comedies that he's been doing.
He was in all the party movies, all the college party movies.
Yeah, but he's moving away from those. He did. He did
Whiplash.
that war film recently. It was about PTSD and stuff, and it was I don't know.
Okay,
Well, I mean, he
so
did-
Miles
he
Teller.
did-
Who else do you like?
I feel like Michael B. Jordan's probably a big name right now that everyone's liking, but I don't know if I've seen anything. I haven't seen him in small intimate roles yet.
I don't know.
That-
Lakeith Stanfield. He was in Get Out as just an extra, not an extra, but he was a smaller part in Get Out. But he is actually starting to pop out in a lot of bigger films and getting bigger roles. He was recently in a film that's coming out called Sorry to Bother You or something like that. And he just plays, it's like a film that takes, I guess it's like a black culture film, but it takes a white spin on it.
All right, not being positive. Bowman, what are some trends that in Hollywood that you don't like? What are the trends you don't like?
Well, I sort of mentioned the Marvel Universe thing. One of the reasons why I don't like all the Marvel films is stylistically it's supposed to be this coherent universe, right? So you kind of have to sort of I don't know. They're all very stylistically similar. They all have to sort of speak to each other. They don't all look exactly the same, but they're just sort of smooths out any sort of directorial sort of input a little bit, I think. And I don't know. I just think I like movies.
Subtext, right?
Well, yeah,
there's
subtext,
in those
right?
movies.
But they're kids' movies, so kids' movies should have subtext too. But
Is
of
that
course,
all you
they should be.
19-year-olds, 20-years watching them? They're for kids.
They should be understandably probably less complex, but I guess we have great television now, right? So
Yes.
great hour-long drama, television is doing amazing things.
Sopranos, maybe.
So where do
Most
movies
timely
fit
reference.
in that context? Especially if movies are providing or television are providing stories that are more geared toward adults, right? So where do movies fit in? And I think that one thing that movies used to do is you start out with a character that you don't know, right? Like a cast of characters you have no familiarity with, and within a 2-hour span of time, you become attached to those characters, and you really care about what happens to them, and then the movie is done.
Wow,
It's
he's
over.
right.
And it's that. Well, I know it's really obvious.
No, but
that feeling
of
of the movie's done, and you feel refreshed because the story's complete, and it's just
So how do you feel
it's
about
efficient.
sequels?
I'm not a huge fan. I mean,
you like the 2 hour, and then once it's over, you feel satisfied. Then you probably do want to see more, but it probably defeat the purpose.
Getting a character that you're invested in, sort of creating that emotional involvement with that character, bringing that character through a story so that by the end they're changed in some significant way and you like really feel that change. And being able to do that within 2 hours is kind of like an amazing feat, and it's just like, it's a very satisfying experience. If you have like a movie franchise, they can be really lazy about that, right? So that never needs to happen in a Marvel movie because there's going to be another one and another one and another one. Same with the Star Wars movies. So you don't get, by the time you get to the end of the movie, it's like, okay, and it's like, you know, I know there'll be another one, so I'll pay attention to that, you know, when that comes around. And it becomes like, you know, a serialized television thing instead of like sort of the, you know, the sharpness you get from a well-told story that has to end in 2 hours.
Well, that was great, and we'll be right back after this quick break.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Danse, balance, suis la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence. Dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou, ton
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
My dad's one of the producers.
Bring this one.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Welcome back. Now, this past weekend, we had to watch Raise the Red Lantern for our Great Films and Great Directors class. First, I want to know, what does Bouman think about this film? What do you think about this film, Bouman? Raise the Red Lantern. We talked about it a little bit today, but the people want to know, how do you feel about it? Cut to camera 3 now.
It's an amazing film, right? I think it's really moving. It's kind of horrifying. It's got Zhang Yimou sort of at his peak. Gong Li's like a stunning and very talented actress. So it's it is difficult to watch in some sense because it's basically about a few women being tortured over a long period of time, emotionally tortured and physically tortured occasionally. So yeah, it's a very claustrophobic movie.
Is that why the doorways? What did the doorways resemble in this movie?
So there are a lot of doorways.
I counted 75 doorways.
So the framing that Zhang Yimou uses in that film is sort of like they call it sort of a closed framing approach. So all the compositions, they seem to contain another sort of frame within them. And oftentimes it's a doorway. So it's like you have the aspect ratio creating a frame, and then within that there's another frame. And I think part of what that is about is just how trapped these characters are, right? They're not allowed to ever leave this one little compound that they're in. So they're trapped in a lot of different ways, and visually, Zhang Yimou just traps them with every frame.
I think something I saw was really cool is like a lot of the shots are symmetrical. So it was just like a lot of they'd have like in the background you'd have the lanterns hanging out, and there'd be two on the side, one in the middle, character in the middle, and it was always kind of set up like that. And the compound or whatever the set was set up pretty much symmetrical. So every shot was almost the same in the sense of how it's balanced out on the sides, and in the front and the back. So I thought that was really cool.
Is there a deeper ideology between this thing? Because I remember I was talking to somebody and they said that that the whole movie is that you need a man or the four women are going to fight. Well, how do you feel about that?
About the 4 women
Yeah,
fighting?
do you think it's like human nature that those 4 women are going to fight for the man, or?
I think
I was watching Desperate Housewives. That's why.
It did feel a little bit like that.
Desperate Housewives of Red Lanterns.
Yeah, the system is set up so that these women really aren't in a position where they can actually confront the real power that's causing the problem, which is just this patriarchal system, and so they're left with fighting each other. And it is supposed to be, I mean, one of the reasons why it got banned in China is because it is supposed to be sort of a metaphor for the power of the government, right? That sort of, you can't really affect the communist government in China in any kind of real way. So you're left with sort of being in contention with your fellow citizens instead. So yeah, that's part of the reason why it got banned.
Why do you think the mallets, when they're hitting the feed, make so much noise so that everybody can hear what's going on?
I think they're made out of metal.
It's good advice.
It seemed like a very attention thing.
They were getting mad.
I mean, it was the first wife. Was she first?
Mistress number 1?
Yeah,
first
yeah,
mistress.
I mean, that's
Sort of
just her title,
sets off
first
like a
mistress.
Pavlov's dog kind of reaction.
Yeah.
You hear that and like you wish that you were getting that foot massage.
The servant definitely did. Remember when the servant was just sitting there, just
So all 3 of them were sitting. Her. So I think it was mistress 2 or 3 was getting her feet massaged.
I think it was 3.
And then Gong Li, her character, was sitting there, and then the mistress or the servant were both sitting there, and they were kind of having that same experience, but their feet were just sitting there.
I mean, you were right on with the symmetry in all those shots, right? I mean, they are composed like incredibly symmetrical, and it doesn't feel balanced. It feels sort of off when you're watching it. Like it's just so much symmetry that's kind of stultifying. And kind of one of the interesting things, and we're going to talk about this in class, but
well, let's hear it.
You know, occasionally you get a moment where like the 2 wives are actually connecting with each other instead of fighting each other, and in those moments you don't have that kind of symmetry. He moves away from that sort of really, really formal look to a look that sort of implies they have more connection.
It was funny when I was watching, because the second mistress, she seems like she's helping everybody, but she's the two-faced one. But it's funny that she's the second one and she's two-faced. But that was pretty funny.
Wow,
great
I bet you did something. You don't think it's something? But I liked her character because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Like even though that probably like you should see it coming, but
I think for me it was kind of the language barrier that I didn't see that coming, because usually if you think of it as a character, like there's obvious number Mistress 3, she was trying to get the master's attention, and first couple of nights was like singing, crying, being sick or whatever, and then Mistress number 2 comes in, is like trying to be best friend, but the number 4, she doesn't know that number 2 is actually the worst of the 4.
Yeah.
She thinks that number 3 is the worst.
I can't believe
so
I
that
saw
she's in
that.
competition with her, but in fact she's not in competition with her. It's actually number 2, and I think because of the language barrier, we didn't really get that could read their facial expressions or their body language quite as well to get that at first without them telling us.
Yeah, I
That's
don't think
kinda
that's
how I
true at all.
all right. So now we're gonna have to. It's time to get some scores of this film. Vinny, out of 10, what's your score of this movie?
I mean, being well shot and everything, I'd give it like a 7. A solid 7.
A 7 lanterns? 7 lanterns out of 10?
I'll give it 7 lit lanterns.
Nice. All right. Okay. What do you think's next, Brian? You're next.
I don't know, man.
Have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay.
I'd probably give it 6 out of 10 wives. Or, number,
6 out of
number
10
6.
mistresses?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely well shot, but I don't know. I guess it's the point that it's so miserable and you really don't root for anyone, but it's a bit slow, and it's kind of, I get the message, but could have gone a little faster.
Bowman, how many out of 10 whatevers?
I give it 7.
7 what? 7 foot massages?
Yeah, 7 foot massages.
Why? Why only 7?
Only 7? That's pretty high.
I know, but I don't know. Why 7?
What? For all the reasons. All the reasons we talked. Excellent acting.
Okay.
Beautiful direction. It's a powerful story, and I think being able to pull it off and to have it be all in one location, I don't know. Yeah.
What do I give it? I give it 7.3 because I don't want to be like everybody else. 7.3 covered lanterns. Covered lanterns. Covered lanterns.
Isn't that bad?
It is bad lanterns, but it's good. It's good. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't. I watched the first 25 minutes, and then I had to leave, and I came back, and after that, I was just glued to the TV.
That's the best way to watch a movie is just to miss most of it.
But sadly, it's time for us to depart. I'd like to thank Professor Bouman for coming on the show this week. We will see you all next week.